Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you a little bit more about somatics, which is my life's work and my passion. So you've heard of acai. I'm sure you've heard of kale. You've even heard of CBD. And I want you all to consider yourself on the ground floor of the next big thing, which is somatics. There's me teaching on a ship. You're going to see somatics in a lot of different variation, guys. You're going to see somatic breathing. You're going to see gentle somatic yoga. I'm sure you're going to see somatic yoga mats. So let's get into what this really means. I'm Jade, and I have scoliosis. I went from regularly prescribed muscle relaxants and up to twice weekly chiropractic visits to being completely pain-free and not even owning ibuprofen. I spent the entire calendar year of 2013 going to the physical therapist 3 times a week. I've tried acupuncture. I've tried trigger point massage. I've tried every topical you can think of. Pain management was my life. By the time I was 19, see this picture of me, this obtuse little round head on the left over here. By the time I was 19, I was overweight, miserable, and accepting that I was just going to be in pain for the rest of my life because this was the shape of my spine. Thankfully, that ended up not being true, and I actually saw resolution, and I turned around and said, hey, if I can get out of pain, I'm sure others can, and I'm sure people still don't know about somatics. So there's a little Chinese handcuff here. Probably don't have enough time to talk about that today. So just a little bit more about me. I've been in dance since I was 2. I also did gymnastics and cheer. I've been a neuro enthusiast since I was 9, which means I started researching what the brain was and how it works when I was 9 years old. I've been to 22 countries outside of the U.S. I'm a former career flexible person from Long Island, New York. I moved to San Diego in 2010. I skipped a couple grades and graduated high school when I was 16, then went to San Diego State University. I'm also a really huge animal lover. Some of my clients are even canines. I've never worked with an equine, but I can later in my career. I'm an avid recycler, and for those of you who appreciate Myers-Briggs, I am ENTP-J split with, and if you guys are DISC people, I am DI, and for everybody else, I score in the 99th percentile for extroversion. So that's just a little bit about me. Somatics, as you might have already read while I was blabbering through that, is a term coined by Thomas Hanna, which means body and mind. And as I talked about earlier, we use it for brain and muscle, but really all it means is taking into account that a person is a body plus a mind, and that the two can't really get separated, like saying your arm is your forearm and your upper arm. But you're not going to walk around and say, this is my forearm and my upper arm. You're going to say, this is my arm. And so in the same sense, in somatics, we say, this is somatics. And then the word for the individual would be soma. So technically, from this lens, we are all somas. And it's just an easy word to include people, plants, animals, and any living thing. So let's talk about one of the issues. If you go to any given drugstore, there's about 200 to 300 cubic square feet of painkillers, Tylenol, ibuprofen, all this kind of stuff. And at present, 1 in 5 Americans suffer from low back pain. Healthline says that at least 80% of Americans will experience low back pain in their lifetime. This is unfortunate because we have moved away from the age of pushing rocks around into Western industrialized civilization to avoid the aches and pains that come with manual labor. And yet we're all crammed to our computer desks and glued to our cell phones and causing pain. So I posit that if we erased all of the chronic acute pain in America, we'd be more productive, happier as individuals, more fulfilled, and feel more connected. Also, in my experience, I've noticed that chiropractic takes the time and money, and medical doctors can replace kidneys and can keep us living to 80, but for some reason, their specialty is not prevention of aging, in the sense that how much have our doctors done for us when it comes to simple aches and pains that just tend to happen as humans. So let's talk about reflexes. Reflexes are, I want you to think about what a reflex is. I can't even see what the bottom says, but I know what slide this is. So reflexes happen nearly instantaneously. They're an automatic response to a stimulus that happens so quickly, it doesn't even get the chance to go up to your brain. And so one of the most common reflexes is the gag reflex. Now, if you were to touch a hot stove, you would retract your hand instantaneously. Likewise, if you're brushing your teeth and brushing your tongue and you accidentally brush a little bit too far, you might gag. You are not, however, likely to gag when you touch a hot stove, and you're not likely to retract your opposite hand as you are brushing your teeth and accidentally go too far. And why is that? That's because specific stimuluses call for specific responses. Likewise, if I were to throw a ball at your head or if an object was coming at you, you're more likely to duck or just move out of the way than gag. So specific reflexes are a response to specific stimuluses. So what might you do if a really loud, earth-shaking noise or stimulus went off that you were totally unaware of? We live in California, or most of us live in California, sorry, to our friend across the pond. But you might duck and cover, right? You might pull in if a really loud noise, unexpected, went off. What might you do if you really wanted to be held upright and move forward as if you were walking towards something? You might run towards it or move towards it. Yes? So what might you do if you fell or something was thrown at you? Call back to that dodgeball example. You know, as you fall, you might try and brace yourself. You see this guy over here on the left, maybe leveraging his right arm to land a little differently. You see this woman over here on the right, the way she's twisting her body and putting more weight onto that left leg. And you can even see some of her other muscles starting to flex. Life happens. So we've talked about the gag reflex and we've talked about the withdrawal reflex without naming it. That's when you pull your hand away from the stove. And I want to introduce you to 3 more reflexes that you haven't heard of. And if you have, DM me after because we just became best friends. So on the left in the green is an example of the muscles that get triggered in the Landau reflex. Okay, so when you're moving forward in life, the muscles of your back tighten and activate to push you forward. Likewise, looking at this red over here in the startle reflex, when you feel startled, you have an inclination to pull in, and all of these muscles and some more activate to pull you into yourself for protection. Then we have the trauma reflex, which is probably the only time you're ever going to hear me say that. And that's with any type of imbalance. So the issue is that when these reflexes get triggered subconsciously, they get automated and stuck into that pattern. And then this is a source of low back pain, chronic pain, my scoliotic pain. And somatic education is the only thing that addresses the problem that's created by these reflexes. The problem is called motor sensory amnesia, MSA, and the specific technique developed by Thomas Hanna is the only thing that addresses it. So what we're really after is reversing pain, preventing pain, and promoting vitality. Here is a quick quote from one of my clients. Highlight here says, "The pain I experienced in the past due to scoliosis has greatly diminished." I really, really appreciate that one. So I would like to close with a quote from the founder of Somatics, Thomas Hanna. "As we grow older, our bodies and our lives should continue to improve right up until the very end." And this is from Thomas Hanna. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about what I do, you can reach me in a chat form on my website, effortxless.com. My company is named Effort X Less because I tried so hard to get out of chronic pain when the solution was actually in not trying and to doing what my body was designed to do. So DM me privately for my email. Thank you guys so much for your attention. And I'm sure we are right on the nose out of time there.
Yep. You